Look around you. Everything you see was built because people believe in something they cannot touch. Not governments, not banks, not even gold, but an idea, an invisible agreement shared by billions of strangers. Every morning, millions of people wake up, go to work, exchange their time, receive pieces of paper or numbers on a screen, and never question why those symbols possess value. Most people believe money has value because governments print it. Architects know governments print it because society already believes in the system behind it. That distinction changes everything. Because if money were nothing more than paper, counterfeiters would be the richest people on earth. If money were merely metal, every civilization would have used the same currency forever. If money were simply numbers, creating wealth would be as easy as typing more digits into a computer. Yet reality works very differently. Money is one of humanity's greatest inventions, not because it is physical, but because it allows complete strangers, separated by language, culture, religion, and geography, to cooperate through trust. Today, we decode what money really is, why civilization cannot function without it, and why understanding its hidden architecture changes the way you see every economy on Earth.
Before we can understand money, we must first understand the problem money was created to solve. Imagine living in a world without money. A farmer grows wheat, a fisherman catches fish, a blacksmith makes tools, a carpenter builds homes. Every exchange depends on coincidence. The farmer needs fish, the fisherman needs tools, the blacksmith wants bread, the carpenter wants clothing. Trade becomes slow, complicated, inefficient. Every transaction requires both people to want exactly what the other possesses. Economists call this the double coincidence of wants. Civilizations simply called it difficult. Human progress required something better. Not another product, not another resource, but a universal language of exchange. That language became money. Notice something remarkable. Money does not create value. It measures value. It does not produce food. It allows food to be exchanged efficiently. It does not build houses. It allows builders to specialize. It does not manufacture technology. It allows millions of independent producers to cooperate without ever meeting each other. Money is not wealth. It is the infrastructure that allows wealth to move. Most people confuse the two. Architects never do.
Imagine a highway connecting hundreds of cities. The highway does not produce goods. Factories do. Farms do. Businesses do. The highway simply allows those goods to move efficiently. Money performs exactly the same function. It is the infrastructure of economic cooperation. Without it, specialization slows, productivity declines, trade contracts. Civilization itself becomes less efficient. This is why every advanced society eventually developed some form of money, not because governments demanded it, but because human cooperation required it. Different civilizations chose different forms: shells, salt, silver, gold, paper, digital balances. The objects changed, the function remained remarkably consistent. Every successful form of money solved the same problem. It allowed strangers to trust one another without knowing one another. Most people see money as an object. Architects see money as a system, because the object may change throughout history, but the architecture never does. Money exists to make cooperation scalable, and scalable cooperation is the true engine of civilization. If money is not wealth, then what exactly is it? Architects answer that question differently. Money is not defined by its appearance, it is defined by its function. Remove the paper, the function remains. Remove the coins, the function remains. Even remove physical cash entirely, the function still remains. Throughout history, every successful monetary system has performed three essential functions. First, money serves as a medium of exchange. It allows billions of voluntary transactions to occur every single day, without negotiation, without barter, without unnecessary complexity. Imagine entering a supermarket carrying bags of rice, trying to exchange them for electricity, or offering vegetables to pay for internet service. Modern civilization would collapse under that inefficiency. Money eliminates that problem. It becomes the common language every participant already understands. Second, money serves as a unit of account. Everything in an economy requires comparison. A home, a factory, a cup of coffee, a cargo ship, a surgeon's expertise, an engineer's time. Without a common unit,
economic calculation becomes nearly impossible. Businesses cannot measure profit. Investors cannot evaluate opportunities. Consumers cannot compare alternatives. Money provides civilization with a common measuring system. Just as meters measure distance and kilograms measure weight, money measures economic value. Third, money serves as a store of purchasing power. Notice the wording carefully. Not a store of wealth, a store of purchasing power. That distinction is critical. People save money because they expect it to preserve enough value to purchase goods and services in the future. If purchasing power disappears too quickly, confidence weakens, saving declines, long-term planning becomes difficult. Entire economies become unstable. Now notice something remarkable. None of these functions require money to be made from gold or silver or paper or even exist physically. The object is secondary. The trust is primary. Most people think money creates trust. Architects know trust creates money. Because the moment society loses confidence, the paper becomes paper again. The numbers become numbers again. The currency survives only as long as the collective belief survives. This reveals one of the deepest principles in economics. Money is not valuable because it exists. Money exists because people collectively believe it will continue to perform its functions tomorrow. Every transaction silently reinforces that belief. Every payment becomes another vote of confidence. Every accepted currency becomes proof that trust itself has economic value. The monetary system is therefore much more than a financial system. It is one of the largest trust networks ever created by humanity. And without that invisible network, modern civilization would struggle to function for even a single day.
If money is built on trust, why has its form changed so many times throughout history? The answer reveals something profound. Civilizations do not choose the strongest money, they choose the most efficient money. Thousands of years ago, precious metals solved an important problem. Gold was scarce, durable, portable, difficult to counterfeit, and widely trusted. For centuries, gold became the foundation of global commerce. But as economies expanded, gold revealed its limitations. Transporting large quantities became dangerous. International trade became increasingly inefficient. Economic growth began moving faster than physical metal. A better system emerged: paper certificates. Originally, paper money was not money itself. It was a claim, a receipt, a promise that real gold existed somewhere else. People accepted the paper because they trusted the institution protecting the gold. Eventually, something extraordinary happened. Governments discovered that people rarely redeemed all their gold at the same time. Confidence shifted. People no longer demanded the metal, they trusted the paper. Later, they trusted the numbers inside banks. Today, most people never touch the majority of the money they own. Salaries arrive digitally. Bills are paid digitally. Investments move digitally. Businesses operate digitally. Entire economies function through electronic records. Notice what disappeared: not money.
Only its physical form. The architecture remained unchanged.
trust continued flowing. Only the technology evolved. Most people believe money became less real. Architects know money became more abstract, and abstraction creates scale. Imagine trying to settle billions of international transactions every day using trucks filled with gold. Global commerce would slow to a crawl. Digital money allows capital to move across continents in seconds. Businesses can expand faster. Investment can circulate faster. Innovation can spread faster. Efficiency improves. But abstraction introduces a new question. If money is no longer backed by gold, what gives it value today? That question has shaped every modern economy. Because once money becomes detached from physical commodities, its value depends almost entirely on confidence. Confidence in institutions, confidence in laws, confidence in economic productivity, confidence that tomorrow other people will continue accepting the same currency. This changes everything. The foundation of modern money is no longer metal, it is collective belief. And collective belief may be one of the most powerful economic forces humanity has ever created. Because civilizations are not built merely on resources, they are built on shared confidence. Money simply became the language through which that confidence could be exchanged.
If modern money is no longer backed by gold, what is it backed by? Most people answer, nothing. Architects answer, everything. Because modern money is not backed by a single commodity. It is backed by the productive capacity of an entire civilization. Every factory, every business, every farmer, every engineer, every entrepreneur, every scientist, every worker, every innovation, every productive asset. Together, they create the goods and services that give money meaning. Imagine an economy where nobody produces anything. No food, no electricity, no transportation, no software, no medicine, no manufacturing. Would money still have value? Of course not, because money cannot purchase what does not exist. This reveals a principle that most people never consider. Money does not create production. Production creates confidence in money. The stronger an economy becomes, the stronger confidence usually becomes, not because the paper changed, but because the productive system behind it became more capable. Now, consider another question. Why does one currency become stronger than another? Is the paper higher quality? Is the digital database faster? Rarely.
Currencies compete because economies compete. The world places greater confidence in nations that consistently produce, innovate, protect property rights, maintain functioning institutions, and generate long-term economic output. Notice where trust actually lives, not inside the currency, inside the system supporting the currency. This is why confidence can disappear surprisingly fast. If production weakens, if institutions become unstable, if laws lose credibility, if governments continually undermine confidence, the currency begins weakening long before the paper itself changes. Most people think inflation destroys money. Architects know inflation first erodes confidence. And once confidence begins disappearing, the monetary system becomes increasingly fragile because every currency ultimately depends upon millions of daily decisions. Every employee accepting a salary, every business accepting payment, every investor allocating capital, every consumer making purchases. Each transaction silently answers the same question. Do you still trust this money? As long as the answer remains yes, the system continues functioning. Once enough participants begin answering differently, history shows how quickly monetary systems can change. This is why architects study economies, not currencies. Because currencies are reflections, economies are the source. Money is not the foundation of civilization, productivity is. Money simply allows that productivity to be organized, measured, and exchanged at extraordinary scale.
Every civilization leaves behind monuments, pyramids, temples, bridges, cities. But beneath every visible achievement exists an invisible architecture: trust. Money is one expression of that trust, not the source of prosperity, but the mechanism that allows prosperity to scale. Most people spend their lives trying to collect money. Architects spend their lives trying to understand the systems that give money value. Because money itself produces nothing. It plants no crops. It invents no technology. It discovers no medicine. It builds no companies. People do. Businesses do. Institutions do. Money simply coordinates millions of independent decisions into one functioning economy. Imagine removing money from the world tomorrow. The knowledge of engineers would still exist. Farmers would still know how to grow food. Doctors would still know how to save lives. Factories would still know how to manufacture products. But cooperation would become painfully inefficient. The problem would not be capability. The problem would be coordination. Money solves the coordination problem. It allows billions of strangers, who may never meet, to cooperate every single day. That realization changes everything, because once you understand money as coordination,
You stop measuring wealth by the amount of currency someone owns. You begin measuring wealth by the productive systems that currency represents. A successful company, a productive farm, a reliable power grid, a global logistics network, a revolutionary technology. These are the engines that create real value. Money merely records their existence. Architects understand another important principle. Money is always looking for productivity. Capital naturally flows towards systems capable of creating greater value over time. That is why innovation attracts investment. That is why productive businesses accumulate capital. That is why growing economies strengthen, because money is constantly searching for efficiency. Not emotion, not popularity, not headlines, efficiency. Most people believe wealth begins with earning money. Architects know wealth begins with creating value. Money follows value. Capital follows productivity. Investment follows confidence. And confidence follows systems that consistently improve human life. This is why understanding money changes the way you see the entire economy. You stop asking, how can I make more money? You begin asking, what productive system creates value that money will naturally follow? That single question separates participants from architects. Because participants chase currency, architects build systems that attract currency. Money was never the destination. It was always the messenger, a mirror reflecting the productive capacity of civilization itself.
The greatest misunderstanding about money is believing that money itself creates wealth. It does not. Money is an agreement, a measuring system, a coordination mechanism, a network built upon trust. The moment you understand that, every financial decision begins to look different. You stop confusing currency with prosperity. You stop confusing income with wealth. You stop confusing prices with value. Instead, you begin searching for the productive systems beneath every number. Because numbers change, currencies evolve, governments rise and fall, technologies transform. But one principle remains remarkably consistent. Civilizations become wealthier when they produce more value than they consume. Money simply keeps score. That is why architects never worship money. They study what gives money meaning. They study incentives, productivity, ownership, innovation, capital allocation, and trust. Those are the invisible foundations beneath every successful economy. The objective is not to accumulate pieces of paper. The objective is to participate in systems that continuously create value for others, because money always follows value over the long run. The currency may change, the mechanism never does. Most people spend their lives learning how to earn money. Architects spend their lives learning why money exists. That single difference transforms the way they see business, investing, economics, and wealth itself. Because wealth is never engineered by collecting more currency than everyone else. It is engineered by understanding the invisible architecture that allows civilization to create value at scale. This is ASUTSEN, Architecting Wealth, Automating Future.